Good day, everyone. Welcome to Big Flats, Texas. It is October 2nd. We are done fertilizing field 16 down there. Quick refresher. Well, first of all, you can find a link to the entire playlist down in the description below and follow along with us here at Big Flats, Texas. This is episode 11. And so the cattle farm is running good and everything. I haven't seen it since earlier this month, but everything down there is good. And we will make sure the cattle are good here in a bit. Everything, earlier this month, we finished everything on field 16. I'm just bringing one of our tractors back up here. Now there's something that I want to do today, and then we're going into November. There's a couple things I want to take care of here in October before we go into November, and one of them is pretty cool. So I was just down at field 16 where we just planted the wheat, and I finished fertilizing it. I'm just bringing the equipment back, and an incredible investment opportunity has come our way. Incredible investment opportunity. Indeed. Let me park this tractor here. We're going to wheel this into the tool shed and put this away next to the harvester. That's actually something I want to show you here. Looking at our harvester, you may notice something slightly different. We've had a number 1 painted on the side. That's because we will soon be adding number 2 to the fleet. Yes, we will soon be adding number 2 to the fleet. And before our soybean harvest, our soybeans are still not ready yet. Yes, I said there was an investment opportunity. Indeed, there is, as a local farmer is selling a used 770, a used S770, because he's upgrading. Now, this is an S790, but we have an opportunity to pick up an S770 for really, really cheap. But as you can see, the money we have right now, yes, so it is an investment. It means we're going to have to take out a loan. And I said I didn't want to, but we have a lot of money coming this year. At the end of the year, it's definitely something that we can afford to invest in. And I think it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it for the size of these fields we have to harvest. I mean, if you've seen the harvest time that we put behind the wheel of our previous harvester for one of these fields, exactly. And if we ever want to harvest something as big as that cornfield up there, we're going to have a second harvester. Well, as I said, here we have a used S770 at a discounted price. I say go for it. I say absolutely go for it and hit our soybean harvest this year with 2 side-by-side S700 series flagship harvesters. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to get this stuff put away. Let's get this stuff put away, and that's what we're doing here in October. And there's really nothing else left to do in October. The cows are fine. I checked on them. So I'm going to put this stuff away. It could use a little spray, but it's okay. It's not too dirty. Let's put it away. We're not going to need this for a minute. And we're going to head to the bank, see about getting a loan. I mean, that's not even an issue. It's not even an issue because we have like 1 million liters of grain in reserve right now waiting for sale. So getting a loan is not even an issue. It's just we've never taken out a loan on this farm. Everything that we've bought, we have paid for with, well, what we've harvested. So it's kind of a big step because I haven't done this yet. But let's go ahead because we're just taking out a small loan of, well, enough to cover this used harvester. It's already got some hours on it. And we're going to have to cover the price of the header as well. But still, that's how much we're taking out. We're taking out $300,000. Seems like a lot of money, but with this farm, that's not a lot of money. We'll have that paid back within the first train car of grain that we sell. So that's not even a problem. It's going to take out of our funds a little bit, but look, here's the way I see it. We're going to buy a second harvester anyway, so let's make that just a little bit easier. So let's go ahead and we're going to let them know that we want to have this waiting for us. It's doesn't have quite the power that the S790 has. It's about 200 horsepower short, but it's going to be able to pull everything that we want it to, or push rather. I have this planned out. So we're going to go with basically the same configuration as the other one, except this one gets a number 2 on it. And we're going to put our flag on it. So we'll have matching combines. This is a used 2018 model And we're going to have basically the same options as the other one. Wide rear axis. And I always do that. I did it again. There. All right, that is waiting for us at the shop. Let's go ahead and tuck our 9RX away. And yeah, I'm keeping my eyes peeled for another tractor as well. Well, you know, I'm always saying that, you know, we're always looking for equipment that is discounted and used, and that is what we found. All of this we bought new. I mean, well, this we bought new. Yeah, that's a 2022. We bought that new. We bought a lot of our equipment new. This is, well, not all of it, but yes, a lot of it. So let's go check out our new combine, and while we're down there, well, it's going to need a header. I'm just really excited about this. I wasn't going to start this episode until November, but I just couldn't help it when I saw that. And that's okay. It'll be November soon enough. All right, so here we are in our new S770, and let's get a header for it. And I think it should push one of these just fine. I think it should. Pretty much, I mean, you got to take your header size, you know, use good judgment with how big a header you think your harvester can push. I'm just trying to get the colors right. Decent judgment with what you think that your harvester can push. That'll work right there. That's good enough. But the main thing when you're picking a header for a machine, so we're good with this, yeah, is to make sure that you have a pipe that reaches out far enough. That's really the main limiting factor. The main limiting factor between a harvester and the header that you can match with it is, does your pipe reach long enough? Ours does, because we have the same length pipe on our other machine, and it's running a 50-foot header. Now, if you're not sure, because this can be a thing. See, this, ooh, what a beautiful machine. We'll get this repaired, and it needs a little service because it is used. Now, this is about 200 horsepower short on the S790. So one way you can make sure, if you want to make sure your harvester can work with the header, let's unfold this. There's a way to do that before you leave the lot. And that's to put down your header and make sure you can go the work speed. Make sure that it can turn the header and go full speed. It can. I believe that is a pretty foolproof method from everything I've seen. This is 455 horsepower, and that's a 14-meter header. 14 meter is about the biggest header you can get, short of a 50-foot or 60-foot. That's about it right there, and it will. I wanted to check that out. It's something you want to make sure of, you know. Make sure that your harvester can push the header. I had a 300 horsepower, it was a 350, I think, yeah, it was about a 350 horsepower harvester, and had a 12-meter header on it, which it ran, but the pipe only just barely reached out past it, and it was very difficult to unload. And so it's one thing you remember, always remember, make sure that your pipe reaches out there. I'm just very excited because of this. So let's repair this. That's another $4,000 to repair it. But for the price of $223,000 all in, we have a harvester plus the $90,000 for the header. But really, we saved like $240,000. We saved about $250,000 basically. I'd say that's a win. Now this has 11 hours on it. Well, that's still fewer hours than the harvester we traded in had. So that's not bad, right? And it looks like the brakes could use a little bit of work. I didn't mean to do that there. All right. So this one, not as big a header, but not as much power. I'm not sure that with 450 horsepower, I'm not sure it can handle the 50-foot header. Also, that header is a little more expensive than this one. And this one has, well, obviously this one is very handy for its own reason. That's okay. We got two different machines, and they each have their own header. Together, they'll work great as a team. Let's get this back home, and we're gonna, let's see. Yeah, making sure we're fitting down the road good here. Let's get home, and we're gonna move into November and hopefully harvest our soybeans. Yeah, I mean, I'm just really obviously very excited about this. I was at a loss for words, to be honest, when I looked at the offers and I saw this used model for sale. And this is going to change the face of our harvesting, because with 2 of these running, that gives us in the 9RX with the grain cart a lot more motion moving between harvesters and collecting grain. Well, I mean, mathematically, yeah, it's like harvesting twice as fast. There's a little bit more to manage. This has a slightly smaller grain tank as well. This holds about 3,000 liters less. This has a 19,000 and change liter grain hopper. It's a little less than the other one. But, wow, this is really, really something else. Yeah, during the harvest this year, we're going to be able to jockey back and forth between these with the grain cart and get everything done so much faster. I remember when I harvested this field, that was split between 2 episodes, if you recall, and I still did a great deal of it myself after that to get it done. When we did the sorghum field up there, that was an entire episode, and there was still much more for me to do afterwards. I'm looking forward to see how our soybean harvest goes and how I'm going to orchestrate it, as in where I'm going to place them to start, because I need it so that, you know, we can run between them with the grain cart. I'll figure that out. I think it might be a situation where I can start them both in the middle, having them work outward, and I can run the truck in between them. That could work with our 2 fields that we have, as the 2 fields that we have are pretty long and narrow. I'll figure that out when we get there. For now, let's get this back to the house, put in the machine shed, which now won't be so empty. So that is, I just think this is great. That is just fantastic. Now that we're back home, put this in the shed until next month. Yeah, this one looks like it's got a little wear on the brakes. No problem. I'm not sure. I haven't driven that one much either. It might be the same thing. All right, let's get this guy inside. Now this is going to look nice with these 2 machines side by side. Oh, that is a tight fit. And I like this header. It's great. It's a little smaller than the other one, by a couple meters, but it allows it to go in the door without having to park it somewhere, and that's always excellent. Oh, ain't that a sight? All right, that is just excellent. All right, everyone, it is November, and let's have a look at our soybeans. But I can see from here, they look like, yes, our soybeans are ready to harvest. That's great. I was thinking it almost, it could have been December because we didn't plant these. I planted these the last month that you could, in June. But here it is, November, and our soybeans are ready. So it is time to get out the equipment and hit the fields. And where did I put the 50-foot header? Oh, it's there. It's behind the machine shed. Okay. Yeah, that trailer is... I'm not a fan of this trailer at all. It doesn't like to keep the header on it. It likes to... Yeah. All right, guys. So that's where we're at. I've had these soybeans since before episode 1. And here we are on episode 11. And it is time to harvest them. We're going to be making so much money at the end of this year selling the grain that we have. Of course, we have a $300,000 loan now we have to pay back. That won't be a problem. Wow, I really should have washed that. We are going to wash that before we head out on the field. Right. I left the machine shed doors open. That's okay. All right, so let's go ahead and hop in our tractor. Let's get our grain cart. And now the soybeans, they're not going to sell until probably going to be June or so is when they're going to be in demand. So we're going to want to move the auger. I'll get to that. That does raise an interesting question. Okay, yeah, we won't be using the semi. We'll be using the grain cart and dumping directly into the auger. So we're going to want to go ahead and move our auger over to this This right here is oats, and that's wheat, and this will be soybeans. So let's go ahead and move this guy. And we want to position, you know, it'd be easier if this time we position it a little bit differently so that it's easier to get to with the grain cart. That thing is so big. Let's see if we can position it like this. And let's move this out here. Do we have enough room to get the grain cart by that? Yeah, I think so. But let's actually point it a little bit like this. It'll give us a little more tolerance on where we can park it, because it's a little, this way it's a little longer front to back with the grain carts coming in, so we'll have a little more tolerance for lining the auger up with it. And is this positioned right? Whoops. Let's leave it on. Yeah, we'll leave that running because we're going to need it. All right, so now let's get our grain cart and get started on this. I haven't decided yet which way we're going to run the harvesters. I don't want to start them at opposite ends, because going between them, well, yeah, I don't want to go the whole length of the field between them, but that means they work closer together near the end. Luckily, this is a pretty oblong field. It's not a bad idea. I'd like to... They have different grain tank sizes, so I can't say when they are going to, how far each of them is going to go before they have a full hopper. It's going to be some trial and error. So this is ready to accept soybeans. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to get this parked kind of in a ready place over here. We're going to start one harvester on this end and one harvester in the middle. That way they're not going to be too far apart. That way they'll never be a whole field distance apart. They'll be at most half a field distance apart. So I'm going to start one here and one in the middle. Let's go ahead and park this right here. Yeah, this will be good here. All right, let's get harvester one. And the first thing I want to do is I want to take a row off the north end of the field and one off of the south end of the field. So let's get this harvester in place. Actually, yeah, let's get this harvester. Let's get the header washed off before we start. It is pretty dirty from that sorghum field. And I want to get the other one over here. We've got to have a photo op with both harvesters together, ready to go. Can't pass that up. Is this all sprayed off? I guess it wasn't as dirty as it looked. Yeah, not as dirty as it looked. There we go. All right, first let's get in harvester number 2. And let's go ahead, let's take him down here. Wow, it's so different driving this combine. Different header. I'm used to looking at the other header. Yeah, this is a long field. It's a very good thing we grabbed these. There's something that I want to check here. Okay. Wow, this field is long. Remember I was remarking on the trees being so green back in it was September. Well, here we are in November. Trees are still beautiful, but in a different way. Yes. Very pretty out here in November. Well, everywhere's pretty in fall, I suppose. Man, this field is big. I know I keep saying it, but it's like, geez, when do I get to the end of the field already? I just want to take a bit off the top, so to speak, give us a headland to work with. We'll see how this guy handles. right, we now break ground on our soybean harvest that I have been anticipating ever since episode 1. And this harvester head, this head has a very high working speed. I was not aware of that. All right, so you may be wondering why we're suddenly at the store and I am picking up a Draper header. The reason for that is I began harvesting. I probably cut it out of the video. I just started harvesting on the field, and the header I was using had an unrealistic work speed. Ugh, bad modders, bad modders. Always check that stuff before. I didn't look at the work speed. It had a work speed of 11 miles an hour, so it just did not feel realistic. I don't like using cheat mods. I don't think most people do. I mean, you know, that reminds me. I saw I was looking at comments on mods at King Mods. King Mods is where I get all my mods. I was looking at a comment there, and someone said something to the effect of, "Why would you cheat in Farming Simulator? I mean, it's basically like solitaire with tractors." He said, "Yeah, why would you ever cheat in Farming Simulator? It's like tractor solitaire." I agree with that sentiment wholeheartedly. Why would you ever want to cheat? And yet there are mods that are ridiculous. So anyway, I started harvesting. The header had an unrealistic work speed. I will be uninstalling that mod. And so what I did was I just swapped it for, this is basically the same size header. This is a 13.7 meter header. And it's the same price. So I traded them out. I agree. Good game, right? Right, guys? Yeah, good game. I don't want to run unrealistic equipment or anything like that. I will be uninstalling that mod. So let's get back to the game where everything is real and lifelike. And I work to keep it that way by not using equipment that is incorrect. So we're just driving back down to the field, and then we'll get started with the harvest. Oh, wow, how about that? Ever wanted to see the inside of an S770? There you go. I just noticed that. All right, let's close all this back. All right, we are ready to go now. I was making sure that I didn't have anything else. I was kind of messing around with the controls on the harvester. This harvester has panels and stuff you can open. I wanted to get my header set right, and we were good to go. Let's go ahead and take the top headland off the field, and then it will finally be time to harvest. I started harvesting with that header, and I was just like, no. Oops. I was like, no, this is not going to cut it. I don't want unrealistic equipment on my farm. Alright, so going with this. It's a noisy header, isn't it? I like it. It's all like jangly. So what we'll do is I'll position this combine about in the middle of the field. No, I'll position the S790 in the middle of the field. The reason is the S790 has a bigger grain tank. It has a better chance of making it all the way to the end before it has to discharge. And once they clear out some space, it won't be a problem. Hopefully, wherever they end up, I'll be able to unload from both of them. We'll get the rhythm down, and I'll be able to use that rhythm to harvest fields faster and faster once I get it down. There we go. Now let's get in machine number 1, the big boy, and let's start him in the middle, thereabouts, so that way they're not working too far apart. And hopefully it won't be too hard to go between them. We'll see. I've never tried this method before. We'll see how it works. Oh, we're going to want to move our cruise control on this down. Think of that ahead of time. Let's see how that works. That should be a decent speed. Yeah, then there's that. Not only do I not want a header that works super fast because it's unrealistic, I want to make sure that the cruise control will follow along with both machines as it should. Well, that's a beautiful sight, isn't it? 2 harvesters working out in the field. That is the road to bigger profits. All right, we are in harvester number 1, and he's only 18% full. So yeah, I think it's safe to say that we'll be able to catch both of these on the trip up. That's good to know. So we'll follow along with Combine 2 on the trip up. And find a way to get to the other one. This orientation of them might not end up working the best. It's better than having them on opposite sides of the field, though. That much is for sure. At one point, they will come together where I'll have to rearrange them. That's inevitable, of course. For now, let's switch to Harvester 2, because we're going to want to be on that end of the field. Yeah, soybeans don't yield as fast as the other crops we've been harvesting, so these are going to make it a good distance on one tank, for sure. We'll have plenty of time to unload these. So I'm going to go ahead and let the worker do that. And I'm going to get up in the truck and collect all the goodies. Well, not the truck, I'm going to get up in the 9RX, follow along with the grain cart, and collect all the goodies. In fact, what was he at exactly? You know what? The other harvester might be able to make 2 runs with it. We'll see. Either way, we're going to follow this guy up the field. Let's see, are we a good distance away? Yep. And how is our speed? Looks like I set the cruise control right on. Oh, this is great. I mean, it's not going to exactly have our harvesting speed because there's going to be more time finagling with the machines, but it's going to drastically, of course, reduce it. All right, the other harvester decided to turn and work in that direction. That's good that he did that because that means these machines won't meet in the middle. Though it means they should be, depending on how evenly spaced they are, basically always going the same direction, more or less. However, there's no way I cannot turn this truck around. I cannot turn this trailer around and get behind the other one because I can't go the whole distance of the field. So there'll be some finagling of machinery, of course. I just think it's so cool. We were able to add number 2 to the fleet, and yeah, actually have numbers on them. That's kind of cool. I might have enough room to turn that grain cart around over there. When I get past that other harvester, I might be able to turn around and come back up the field with them. This is a wide grain cart. I'll have to be careful with it, not to take out crops, but I might be able to turn around and then follow the other one. Think I can turn around up there? It's a possibility. I could take out a lot of crop trying. Whoa. It's a pretty risky maneuver. Pretty risky maneuver. That was pretty risky. I almost took out a lot of crops. All right, I'm hoping he stops to unload his entire tank. I got to get over more. No, unload your whole tank, buddy. I'm kind of close to him. Yeah, you know, this is a trial run of this. I've never tried this with harvesters before. Running them in this way. Can I just swing that trailer away from him? Nah, it's not want to. Maybe when he unloads, he'll pull away. Is he about empty? Just about. Okay, I'll just remain still and maybe... Nah, let me see if I can get off of him. There. Alright, now the trick is to get over there without hanging this thing up on the tree. If that hits the tree, it's over. It'll get stuck on it. And yeah, this is coming... yeah, and yeah, I know that will happen because it's happened before. So I know to avoid that. Alright, and now we should be able to make it down there and unload from this harvester when he comes back up north. And let's run off the field. So we're trampling all of the harvested crop stalks. Oops, I did it again. I hit the cruise control. No, I don't hit the cruise control. This puts a little more spacing behind their movements, which gives me more time to maneuver between them, and that's good. I'm seeing a flaw in how I orchestrated this. Again, I've never done this before. I should have started them at opposite ends because they're going the same direction, they're always going to be unloading when they come north, which means, yeah, had I started them at opposite ends, I wouldn't have to turn this around every time. Because yeah, I see, since they're pointing the same direction, they're only going to be unloading when they're going north. So I always have to unload. I always have to catch it going from south to north. With practice, we can get this down. And this is the kind of stuff that we've got to get down with bigger fields when we get to the real big ones. This is only an 18-hectare field. Come on, catch up to him. The fuller this grain cart gets, the more sluggish we're going to be. All right, don't want to get too close because that grain cart is a little wider than the tractor. There we go. This is a lot of soybeans, and there's two of these fields. There's two of these fields. This is great. I love this harvest. Of course, I've been looking forward to this for some time. And next month is going to be great because next month we have the big sell of all of our grain. We'll have to pay back the $300,000 loan that we used to buy this machine. Yeah, but we're going to have a lot more left after that. Money that we can put aside and think about that investment. I've already put thought into it. We'll have to see what comes our way as to where it goes. I think what we're going to do here is I'm not going to run the whole length of this field just to turn around. No. What I'm going to do is at the end of this row, we're going to go the same way we did, except I'm going to stop at the head of the field and wait there, and then I'll just have the worker wait. Hopefully they will on their own. I'll have them wait and dump their load before going down. Easier than following him all the way up. You know, yeah, I'm not going to turn around. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to turn around, drive the whole length of the field just to turn around again and follow him. I'll just have him wait at the end. First, let's wait for this guy to turn around. So we got room to make our turn. And very carefully so we don't hit the tree. I can't even imagine how much soybean we're going to have after this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to park the grain cart up here and have him offload at the end of his row. If we can get it parked in just the right spot. Well, as long as we put the tractor parallel to, say, right about right here. And we'll just let the grain cart straighten itself out. Once we get straight, we'll just back it up. Yeah, it gets a little resistant to steering, this trailer does, as it gets fuller and fuller. We at the end? Okay. We should be able to wait here and have him offload, and he should stop. Because he should have like an 80% full hopper, at least. He should be almost full when he gets here, just like last time. Except there's a small problem here. This harvester is running not quite exactly with the end of the row, and he was on a crash course with our truck. Or I keep calling it a truck. He's on a direct course with our tractor up here because he's running with his header a couple feet off the end of the row. And that could interfere with where our grain cart is sitting. I didn't account for that. So let's see if I can muscle this thing around a bit and get it worked a little way away from where we were at. Look at those D tracks I put in the dirt. Yeah, this thing is no joke heavy at 105 tons total between the two machines here. Just get it over the slightest bit here. You should have room to unload here. Let's let the grain cart straighten out a tad. We should have room now. Let's go ahead and hop in here. I'll make sure that he stops. He should. But then again, when have these workers ever done anything I asked them to do? Yeah, it's a good thing I moved the tractor. Okay, yeah, he's being a good boy. He's dumping his hopper. All right, so we know they'll do that now. The workers do know when their hopper is full, or just about. All right, so I'm going to catch up to this harvester here. Actually, we're going to catch the load at the same place. It seems to be the best way to go about this. I'm going to break this episode into 2 episodes because we have another field to do after this. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to comment below, like, and follow along with the series. If you want to subscribe to the channel, it's much appreciated with your support. And follow along with the series as we farm in Big Flats, Texas, on our goal to have the biggest farm in all of Texas. At least reasonably. At least that we can manage. Guys, thanks so much for watching. We're going to, part 1 is going to end here. And, well, I may as well just call it a different episode, I guess. There was a lot that got done today. Probably not all of it made it into the video because we had a lot of snags and issues. And there's still yet another field to go. So I will catch you guys in the next part for the next field and the rest of the harvest. Thanks a lot.